Hey everybody, this is Perch. In what's turning out to be a very strange couple days for IDW, we have learned that Marvel Comics has canceled the IDW Marvel Action line. This is a number of all ages titles: Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, Black Panther, The Avengers, and some others have taken part in this line. And this has been, as I said, aimed at all ages, really kind of aimed at younger than YA, kind of that. Classic Scholastic audience. And it hasn't been a massive hit for IDW in terms of sales. They've kind of struggled, I think, to get some of these comics into places where that audience exists. But basically, Marvel Comics is apparently, according to a couple sites now, has pulled the Marvel license from IDW going forward. Or basically let it wind out. So I think there was an opportunity to renew the license. Marvel chose not to renew. If I'm going back and I'm just kind of working backward, and this would assume that the contracts are the same, which is a big assumption. I've never seen these contracts actually. So I, take this with a grain of salt. Then Star Wars would be about 6 months or so from now as well in this line. And if Marvel is I can't see a world where Marvel pulls the Marvel books and not the Star Wars license as well in terms of comics. But it does look like Marvel is consolidating kind of internally. And we know that Disney Publishing has been ramping up. We know that Disney intends to do more with these characters. I suspect some of the license that went to IDW might have prevented Disney from doing everything they wanted to do. It's why some of the Disney published books have been they felt like they've been working around some corners, if you will. The 5-minute stories that Disney Publishing has put out with some of their partners have sold extremely well on Amazon and other places. So I feel like this is a case where Disney is just trying to pull in these books proper back to the company. But keep in mind that there was a lot of speculation a few years ago. I think Cosmic Book News and a couple other sites were looking at this IDW licensing deal and pointed to it saying, this is Marvel of the future. Marvel/Disney won't even publish comic books in a few years. They'll put it all to IDW. And I acknowledged as well, that was definitely a possibility. Disney does tend to license out things, and that's part of their overall model. So it wasn't the craziest idea. But by pulling the license from IDW, it's potentially a pretty big thing. And keep in mind, this is coming right on the heels of IDW announcing that they were leaving Diamond to go to Penguin Random House. Now, Penguin Random House obviously has a highly vested interest in, moving to, more kid, all ages type work. It's been one of their big growth areas as a company. So now with IDW losing these, that's an interesting dynamic. The other thing kind of worth just throwing out here, and I'm sure some people have this in the back of their minds as well, IDW basically recruited Heather Antos from Valiant primarily to manage and edit this line. We've seen some other hires. Mark Doyle obviously working at IDW, bringing over Maggie Howell, who came from DC and had been working with the Batman White Knight universe, among many other things. IDW has been staffing up. Megan Brown coming over. So I do question a little bit, like what does happen to Heather Antos in this entire mix, since I think part of her experience in time at Marvel was probably a pretty big pull for why she was brought into this role. But again, IDW, according to some of the news sites here, IDW gave the statement, while it's been a great pleasure crafting new tales of beloved Marvel heroes for middle grade readers, IDW Publishing will not be continuing with the Marvel Action line of comics and trade paperbacks beyond our solicited December 2021 releases. We look forward to continuing our strong partnership with Marvel on other projects, including our award-winning artist editions and artist selects. So again, a couple things here. That's soon. December is just a couple months away. This doesn't feel like a shock moment to all this. There have been some cancellations that have been hit with some of the, they were going to do a Marvel Action Avengers series, and those have been canceled outright. So it's curious what's going to happen here. Again, this timing of this can't be great. in the sense that IDW has this new Penguin Random House deal. They need to fill it up with things. They have some licenses that have already left. Boom has taken the Magic license. Now Marvel pulling the Marvel license. And again, presumably, I would think when the contract term expires, Star Wars goes as well. Maybe that won't happen, but that would, if you've now pulled away Marvel and Star Wars and a handful of the Hasbro licenses, I mean, IDW has to pivot at some point, and perhaps that's one reason. Maggie Howell coming in as senior editor of original content. I believe she's talking about how she's going to be doing some middle grade young adult space, building on the existing library. So I think IDW is clearly in some transition, and so we started Friday with the news that they were moving to Penguin Random House. Now we're pivoting a little bit to them losing a pretty significant brand that they've been working with. So anyway, a very interesting, very interesting moves that are happening here, and it's going to be curious to watch what happens to IDW. There's one other bit of kind of this fall. So that's news. That's actually confirmed news. We've heard word from IDW. This is happening. Moving away from that into crazy rumor time is there is a speculation. This is one of those rumors based completely on a tweet. So Brian Michael Bendis throws out a single tweet. The comedy of which is his avatar is a Dark Horse Comics logo. But anyway, he throws out a single tweet of Michael Keaton as Batman saying things change. This sparked a massive amount of speculation that basically Bendis may be headed to Batman. So Josh Williamson is on Batman today, but by all accounts, he's planning a number of different series. He's doing a crisis event. He's on a ton of things, and Williamson is all we know is that he's on 4 issues starting in December, and they have not named him the new ongoing writer. They basically say he's doing this run. So what happens at the end of the 4 issues with Josh Williamson? It either they'll continue with him, but that seems unlikely if he's going to helm this new crisis event. And you wonder if we're getting some signal that Bendis is about to take over the Batman books. Bendis has been on Justice League. Obviously, he's on Superman before that. Bendis has shown an interest in the character. It was a surprise to many that he didn't take over Batman when he came to DC. Instead, he went to Superman, and that was seen as a bit of a shock to people. But he does like writing these kind of more street level heroes and everything else. All these pieces, again, we're speculating off of a single tweet with an image. However, there are a number of pieces that are being put together here with kind of Williamson, his schedule, who's going to take over Batman. DC, with Batman being the flagship title in their lineup, James Tynion leaving somewhat unexpectedly on that book, they put a big name on it. In terms of the big names in their stable, Scott Snyder obviously is done Batman, and he's off doing other things. Tom King has also done Batman. He's doing other things. I think DC is not going to put Tom King back on the book in any capacity. Mariko Tamaki is on Detective, but it doesn't feel like they're wanting to kind of move that up at the moment. And so who are you left with? Josh Williamson, who's mentioned, has been doing a number of other things. Robert Venditti is an option, but he seems to be kind of fading to the background in some cases. So that leaves us with Bendis. And I think if you're wanting to take your top book at DC and put a big name on it, it's not irrational for DC to put Bendis on the title. So anyway, pure speculation, but it really feels like that's a decent bet at this point. Anyway, we'll see. But I don't think Bendis would just be randomly tweeting something out, and they are going to need to announce something headed into 2022. Obviously, they've got their new crisis event, a bunch of other things happening there. But Batman operates on its own spectrum. It's representing roughly 99% of their publishing line. I'm exaggerating slightly, but just slightly. But they're going to need a big name on that. And what is this? Betting odds? Vegas odds are I think Vegas odds are Bendis is headed to Batman. That's what I would call. So what do you think about all this? IDW losing the Marvel Action Line. What does that say or mean? And Bendis potentially on Batman. What do you say about that? Let me know in the comments below what you think. Again, pure rumor, pure speculation on the Batman business. Definitely a lock on IDW. So 2 interesting bits of news to grapple with. Let me know what you think, and thanks for listening.